All right, everyone, let's start with something simple. Take a deep breath and hold it. How's that starting to feel? A little tight? A little panicky? A little restricting? And exhale. You see, leadership often feels like we're holding our breath. Like if we exhale just for a moment, everything's going to fall apart. The way that we've been taught to lead is slowly breaking us, but maybe falling apart can be the spark of a rebellion. For 30 years, I followed the leadership rule book. I remember looking up at the adult leaders in my life when I was a kid, and they always seemed so cool and composed and poised and courageous, like they knew everything about everything. And when it came time for me to lead my own teams, I didn't just learn that way of leading, I embodied it. See, I was raised to be a good soldier. Shoes shined, suits pressed, enter into a room and command it. The tone, the look, the stance, always on. How many of you have led like that? Whether you're the CEO of a company, or raising a family, or a caregiver, or maybe managing a small team of volunteers. You're the rock, you're the strong one. You're the one that everyone comes to in a crisis looking for answers. And let's be honest, it works until it doesn't. I remember one spring in my early 30s, I'd been promoted to my very first leadership position. And in that moment, I felt that I needed to be totally capable, but I would arrive at staff meetings with my stomach tied in knots, having rehearsed every word and scenario planned every problem. But I went in and no one knew how I was really feeling. I smiled and I nodded and I provided the advice and I started to wear the mask. Fast forward 20 years and now I'm standing in my shower. The water pouring down and my chest so tight I can barely breathe. I'm looking at my reflection in the foggy mirror and it's cracked and blurred and almost unrecognizable. And I'm thinking in that moment, if I just cried hard enough and got it out of my system, no one at work would notice. And it wasn't just tears, but it was like the leadership handbook was leaking out of me. All the years of pretending and mask wearing were finally catching up. And those cracks were waiting for me when I got home. I'd pull into the driveway, hands gripping the steering wheel, too exhausted to move, thinking, okay, let's just get on the couch. I get on the couch with some unhealthy food, some wine, TV remote in one hand, and my phone ready to doom scroll and send emails in the other. Mask still on. And you see, I wasn't supposed to be the one that broke. It wasn't one big breakdown. It was the same crack showing up over and over again. And suddenly, I started to think, well, why couldn't I just be more human? Why couldn't I just be myself? Who told me that leadership meant wearing a mask and meant pretending? So on this journey of being a rebel leader, if you will, I've learned a couple of leadership rebel truths, if you will. And I'd like to share some of them with you today. Number one, rebel truth number one, strength isn't about hiding your struggle. We've all been told that truly strong leaders hide their emotions. They're the rock, they're the strong ones, but that's not real strength. Real strength is admitting that you're up here with a terrible case of stage fright, having never suffered from stage fright before. And it might seem risky letting people know how you really feel, but when those walls come down, you really do have much deeper conversations, much more authentic conversations. True leaders don't hide their struggle. they show the cracks. Leadership rebel truth number 2. Resilience is found in the messy middle. I, right now, am in the messy middle on this stage, feeling some stage fright that I've never really felt before. I'm used to speaking in front of people, and it's surprising how I'm feeling at the moment. But to really understand resilience, you have to understand the messy middle. It's not about getting to the other side. It's about being present in the storm, not going through it. And I'm not going to give you leadership rebel truth number 3 because I'm actually really nervous. But what I will say is that these rebel truths find me every day. And as recently as yesterday, where I was on this stage, standing in this very spot, I got through 3/4 of my speech and then had to come off the stage. And I just couldn't do it anymore. But I gave myself the same grace that I so readily give others. And so what I will say is that the Leadership Rebellion is already here. It is time for all of us to join, and I'm proud to be part of this Leadership Rebellion. Thank you.
You know what? We're going to have an encore. We're going to bring Natalia up again, and she's going to share a little more about the Leadership Rebellion.
Is this thing on? Okay. So welcome to my messy middle. And, you know, if you're ever thinking what a worst-case scenario on a TED Talk is, well, here it is. You forget, you feel nauseous, you finish your speech early, and there you have it. And I can say that I'm still standing, I'm still alive. And I couldn't let you leave without Rebel Truth number 3 and a little closing, so sorry about that. Rebel Truth number 3, authenticity is contagious. The more real I am becoming, the more people around me are becoming real. And I've started off Zoom meetings by saying I forgot my glasses, I can't read my script, and you're getting the unfiltered version of me today. Shoulders drop, and the meeting comes alive. And you'd think that productivity would slow down because of it, but it actually speeds up. Because people spend less time pretending that everything is okay, and more time towards the conversations and the decisions that really matter. So the next time you start a conversation, maybe you start with not what you're doing, but how you're doing. Leaders who are brave enough to be authentic can be the light that pulls people out of the shadows where everyone can flourish. So what if we all led rebelliously? Where leading was not a superhuman act, but a human one. Where we led from connection, not isolation. Where leading and showing the cracks wasn't considered shameful, but where the light gets in. So I will say that I have talked to a lot of leaders that are experiencing very similar things to me, wearing the mask and pretending on their own journeys. And I'm going to say that the Leadership Rebellion is already here. And what if we all chose it together? That is a rebellion that I would be proud to be a part of. So let's try this once again. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Doesn't that feel better? Real leadership is not about hiding your struggle. It's about falling apart and being brave enough to come back anyway. The future of leadership is not polished, it's human. Let the leadership rebellion begin. Thank you.